Okay, so let's take a look at today's price action. As of yesterday, we were exactly at this point. And so we're just going to take a look at what's transpired and see, what the market has in store. So I'm going to get rid of this for now. So yesterday we were right here. And what were the things we talked about yesterday? So yesterday we talked about the fact that we had marked down from the top of our range. We had an accumulation, we had our manipulation, we had our expansion downwards. And that's left us at this region where we've tapped that 2-hour demand, and that demand has given us a minor reaction. And that reaction was followed with some nice bullish divergences on market cipher. As we can see here that as our momentum was going down, market cipher was going up in that region. And I discussed that 2-hour demand was going to give us the juice for that retracement leg, that 4-hour retracement leg. In red, we've got our 4-hour. So the retracement, we are expecting that to happen at either one of these zones. And we also mentioned yesterday that in the case that we were to come all the way up to the 4-hour high, we would be looking at that level for a trade or a potential pump fake setup. So in the sense that we're looking for a retracement leg, where would that retracement happen? This is what we talked about yesterday. Now we were saying that, the break off of this 2-hour supply, it was a very tiny break. It was a very tiny break. As we can see over here, it was a tiny break off that 2-hour, supply. It did wick all the way up, but we mentioned that, we would want to see a more convincing break. And what we've done is we've distributed in this region for some time, and that's where price is currently at. So if we take a more zoomed in approach, we was mentioning that we had this 15-minute demand that we left over. We had this 15-minute demand we left over. So we were around here at the time of the stream, and I mentioned that, a few things could happen. We can either take this high and, rotate downwards, or this 15-minute demand could simply act as our level for our next move up to this 45-minute supply. Okay, so I said watch out for this level for your next long trade. So let's take a look at what happened and see what price did. So price went up to this 45-minute supply. It induced it, didn't quite mitigate it, and it marks down. Now, of course, that means we kind of broke out of this range on the 15 minutes. Again, not quite a convincing break. We would like to see something like this. In terms of a break, we would like to see something out of that region that looks similar to the following. Let me just find a nice bull bar. Okay, there we go. We would want to see something that punches through that level like that, so that we can know that this is buyer stepping into the market and providing the volume required, to break. So we'll need to see stuff like that, maybe another candle that's similar, to that. But we didn't get that. We actually got a buy rejection wick up here. And what is a buy rejection wick? Well, buy rejection wick, it kind of says, the buyers are being rejected at the top. So that's what we got. But anyway, we're looking at this 15-minute demand zone to see if we're going to get a reaction off that zone. So price marked up slightly, and it's come back down to that zone we were looking out for. It's tapped the zone once, and immediately as soon as it's tapped that zone once, what are we looking out for? We're looking for a second tap to enter on that counter trend range setup. Okay, and that's exactly what's happened. So what I was able to do is get in on a trade right around here as we tapped that demand, and we played that demand for the markup. Well, let's see if we had our confirmation into that zone. Let's go on the 5 minutes and let's see what happened on the 5 minute. So on the 5 minute, we can see that as price marks down, it made that initial low, it marks back up, and then made another low. So in terms of our 5 minute, structure, we have something that looks like this. Well, if I start, perhaps I start over here, we break structure downwards, and we go up, we retest that low, and we continue on our way up, okay? So on the 5 minute, would we have been able to enter that trade? Well, not quite, not until perhaps around here, not until around here. Let's take a look at the 3 minutes to see if we were able to enter that trade in the 3 minutes. On the 3 minute, in terms of the 3 minute, we've got more pronounced structure. If I get rid of the 5 minute structure, on the 3 minutes, on the way down, especially on that second leg, we had the following. Okay, so again, on the 3 minute, not quite the entry we're looking for, especially off that level, all right? So now, I wouldn't recommend doing this all the time, but let's take a look at the 1 minute. As we approach that level on the 1 minute, what did we get? So let me get rid of this for you so you can have a look and see this clearly. We have price marking down, okay? We wick for the first time, again, creating a low. We have another sort of range, and we test the bottom of that range. And what do we do after that? Well, after that, we break structure on the way up, okay? We break structure on the way up, which means on the 1 minute, we did have that entry signal. You had it here, and you had it here. So let's see what Market Cipher was doing. Well, at that level, what was Market Cipher doing? Well, Market Cipher actually printed a nice, tiny 1 minute divergence. Well, let's look on the 3 minutes, actually. I don't like 1 minute divergences. Let's look on the 3 minutes. Okay, so on the 3 minutes, we can see it clearly. Let's see if we've got it on the 12 minute as well. On the 12 minute, we have quite a nice divergence. So here we go. So we have price marking down, and we have our momentum going up. All right, and then we have money flow with an increasing gradient. So this is a key indicator that we're going to get a reversal at that point. All right. So there we have it. That's how I entered that trade. I entered that trade based off of Market Cipher, and it was a long that I drove. I didn't drive it that high. I just drove it all around here. This region I drove it to, okay? Because I wasn't quite sure, what price was going to be next. So that was that long. So I'm going to get rid of that now, and we're going to discuss what else price has done since yesterday. I guess the key question was, is price going to break? Is it going to break through this 2 hour zone? All right. Are we going to push through this 2 hour zone, or are we going to plummet down? Well, I don't quite like the fact that we are, accumulating over here. I don't like the fact that we are distributing over here. And we're having this, what looks like a range. So let's take a look at this range. Well, in terms of this range, we've got the top of our range and the bottom of our range quite clearly. We've obviously burst out of the top, okay, we've closed, but then we've been accepted back into that range. And we've had a retest down here, and we've actually come to this 12-15 minute zone, and we've marked back up. This is a very good time to actually pull out your fixed range to see what's going on as far as price is things. So over this region, our fixed range was quite similar to our external range. All right. So what did price do next? The price continually went up, and then it played around for a while. All right. And at this point, I'm thinking, well, is this the break? Is this the break that's going to burst out of this zone? Is this the break that's going to at least take us to that 45 minute zone? All right. Of course, I'd already come out of my trade then, but I'm thinking, is this the range that's going to take us to our zone? Or are we going to rotate further down? All right. But I'm quite cautious. Why? Because of this, distribution that we have over here. And we also have, what we need to be aware of is we also have potential signs of, Trinity 2 taking place. Now, what is Trinity 2? Well, we've got tap 1, we've got tap 2, and it seems like we may be also creating tap 3. So even though I'm thinking this might be the burst we go and we have to take up, I'm also wary that this may be the start of the rotation downwards, all right? So let's see what's happened. Boom, we've actually marked down. And I was actually able to enter that short as well because of the fact that I thought, well, this may potentially be a Trinity 2. And how did I enter that short? Well, I entered that short again based off of Market Cipher confirmation. market cipher, what was it doing as we approached that region? Let's take a look. So if we go on the replay tool, let's go on the, probably see this in a 10-minute. We can see that as we approach that zone again, market cipher gave us quite clear indication that we were going to mark down, and it looked like this. So as price went up, our momentum was, pointing downwards, and we have that decreasing gradient in terms of our money flow. So that was the reason I entered that short, and that short, I'm currently still in that short. And that short, I believe I took that from around here, yeah? So my stop loss, of course, above that high, not the main high, because that is a terrible trade, but my stop loss above the high. So in the case that we mark up, I know, well, my idea is invalidated, all right? Now I'm looking to ride this down at least to this level, at least to these lows, our range lows, all right? And what has price done so far? Well, in terms of what's price done so far, we can see that price has just, reacted of, let's get rid of that. We can see that price has reacted of a key zone. And what zone is that? Well, we can see we got a slight reaction of the value area low, all right? We've pressed that up to the POC. And then we've got a reaction downwards. Now this markdown has actually looks like it's broken that value area low on at least a 15-minute. Let's see if that's taking place on, let's say, the 30 minutes. So on the 30 minutes, it's on the way. It's not yet happened. On the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, it looks like it's on the way. It's not yet happened, all right? So at least I'm looking to ride that down, at least to this level, okay? And after that, in the case that it breaks down, I could look for a potential entry from that retracement. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is if we take this as a range, let's make that green. If we take this as a range, price, if it breaks out of that range, assuming it doesn't break as aggressively as I think it may, if we break down out of that range, it could retrace to around this level before it comes down to that zone. And remember, at that zone, we're ready. We're waiting to see what price does at that zone, because we're taking this as an even bigger range. All right, for which price may react at that point. In case price comes here with some divergences and a market structure change, what will I do? Well, I'm looking to enter along at that level. All right. Well, because I'm already in that short, it would be quite nice for price to break that range. Break that range low, but we don't quite know what's going to happen. We may actually get a rejection and some upward action. So that's what's transpired over the last 24 hours. And as far as our next trade, we're looking for a long up here. In the case that it breaks that zone, we're looking for this 12-hour demand zone. And we've also got this 4-hour zone below that. This 4-hour zone is confluent with the value area high. If price is to burst through all those levels, well, we've got lots of reasons for price to go further down. We've got all this liquidity, this fair value gap. So be cautious. We could get quite a quick, decisive move down. So just be careful. As far as short goes, well, the shorts are chilling at the moment. Why? Because this 45-minute zone has not yet been tested. 45-minute zone has not yet been tested. This hour zone has not yet been tested. And I did think that 2-hour zone was going to give it the juice, to mark up. But we'll have to wait and see. So in terms of my shorts and in terms of my longs, those are the areas I'm looking out for, and that's where we are at the moment. So what am I saying? So each and every one of these levels, make sure you are not just entering limit orders as we approach these levels, because you will get wrecked. Make sure you're looking for clear market structure change. Make sure you're checking market cipher to see whether there is confirmation. Is there a divergence? And let's say you don't have market cipher. Make sure you're using things like your RSI divergence. Let's say you don't have, you don't use RSI. Make sure you're looking whether this is a moving average zone, all right, or this is a key fib zone for a reaction. make sure you're getting that extra confirmation, to give you that confidence to enter your trades. As I always say, always say, planning your trade is one part of the puzzle. The next part is actually your confirmation and your risk management. All right, so make sure you're not risking too much, and happy trading. I'll see you tomorrow.